Hello, my friends. It's Andy coming to you in 1080p on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. It is Monday. Had to look to see what day it was. I should know because it's the first day of the RNC convention. Hey, man, I woke up in a really good mood this morning, and man, I got pissed really fast because it just took one statement from Joe Biden that just completely, just utterly pissed me off. And so I'm going to put up this warning now because I'm going to show a video. Contents of the show will be graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. So I want to make sure that this is up right now, that you are warned that you are going to see a shooting. And so I'm going to have to show you a shooting that occurred in Wisconsin over the weekend. And then also, just based on how I know that I feel right now, I just woke up from a nap. You think I'd be all refreshed, and I'm as angry as I was this morning when I saw the statement from the freaking idiot, otherwise known as Joe Biden. And so we're going to talk about that. And so I can't tell you how just like fudge. And normally I could care less. I mean, I'm happy when Joe says stupid stuff, but this affects our country. What he said, and him and Kamala together as a team, affects our country. So before I go any further, let me talk to you about a couple sponsors. And I want to talk to you about StreamYard. Go to getstreamyard.live. That's what I'm using to broadcast here live to you on all of those different platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And now in 1080p on YouTube. And so this is a great platform. I love it. If you want to do your own live show, interview people, if you're in the network marketing business, as I am, if you are have a restaurant, if you are thinking about starting your own show in regard to current events or something may be going on, then you're going to want to get StreamYard. So go to getstreamyard.live. And to learn how to do it, I got a training program called live streaming using StreamYard. And you go to joinmelive.live. Joinmelive.live. You go there. You get into the program, you get a basic training program, which is about 5 or 6 videos. And I think I'm going to be adding still one more. And then there's an intermediate program, which shows you how to use all the other stuff, how to add some pizzazz, like lower third and using banners and bringing in comments like this one that may be up right here, which is Carol. Hey, Carol, nice to see you. All right. No, I don't want you to be quiet, Carol. I want you to speak. I want you to speak. So go to joinmelive.live if you want to learn how to go live. And especially coming up, I want more people speaking up. My message has always been, well, not always, lately has been really strong, is that I need people to stop being silent. We need to start talking out and being outspoken, regardless of what you think the outcome is going to be. And today's happycoffee.com. Go there for some great Today's Happy Coffee that has some happy hormones. This is the lemonade. I already drank half of that after I woke up from my nap. I don't know why. I just fell asleep. I was so exhausted. But you'll see if this actually works, because if my energy continues to pick up as it is right now, it's because of this lemonade, which is also, you can get it at today's happycoffee.com. It works on your happy hormones. It makes you happy, even when Biden says stupid crap. All right. And then CBD. I'll talk about CBD too. Today's CBD oil by Vaseo. It's one of the top 50 healthcare companies in the world. Vaseo created and patented this formulation for CBD. It has liposome technology, which allows the nutrients to get in your body and actually be used. All right. So like I said before, we're going to be showing some graphic stuff here. So one more time, I'm going to put this warning. You're going to see somebody you're not actually going to see them. You're going to hear the gunshots and you're going to know when they got shot, but it's not so graphic that you see. But I just want to warn you that's going to happen. And I may cuss. Should I put in this banner that I have right here? Caution, foul language will be used. Oh no, that's not the right one. Here, this one. I'll just put that on there. So if there's any children near you, I'm just letting you know right now, just warning you. I'm going to try really hard. I'm going to try, but I'm so angry. This is so freaking. All right. So let me show you this video. All right. This is an incident that just occurred. I don't know if it was yesterday, day before yesterday. I'm not sure exactly. In Wisconsin. This suspect, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in a minute, but the officers were on a call. Let me tell you right now. So the suspect that's involved, who gets shot in this thing, he is, based on what I've learned from the intel that I've been able to gather from people that I know, is that he is a known suspect in a number of domestic violence issues in regarding his family. He's also a sex crimes criminal. He has been either convicted or has been under the investigation of some types of sex crimes. So that's who they're dealing with. The cops know him. He's a known suspect. He also is known to have lethal weapons, guns. So he's a domestic violence suspect in many cases. They've been there many times for beating up his family, his wife, and his kids. He's a known sex crimes offender, and he's been known to carry lethal weapons. All right? They know that. They already know him. This is the guy they've dealt with before. All right? So that you just got to understand that part. So let me go ahead and play this video. Let me look at this comment really quick. Sugar beet is what we say here in South. Yeah, I'll try to say sugar beet. Thank you for that. All right, here we go. So I'm going to add this to the stream here. I'm going to make it, make myself, and enlarge it just a little bit. So just in case you haven't seen it, if you've been watching the news, you've had to seen this by now. But here we go. So this is an incident that just occurred either yesterday or the day before yesterday. There's a suspect in a white shirt, white tank top, black shorts. Officers have their guns drawn. They're telling him to stop. He won't stop.
Wow.
And now they're applying CPR and first aid. All right. So there is the incident. That's what occurred there. And again, so let me just lay this out. You have a suspect that's known. He's a violent person. They know that because they've arrested him for violent offenses before. They know that he often carries weapons and has been known to carry lethal weapons. And you can see the officers at that point, the video starts as they already have their guns drawn on him and they're telling him to stop. They're grabbing at his shirt, trying to get him to stop. He won't stop. He's going to get in his vehicle. He opens the door and you can see him go down into his vehicle. And at that time, they start to shoot. Officers, police officers are there to investigate a crime. They know this guy. They know of his violent history. They know that he has known to carry lethal weapons. He has been told at gunpoint to stop moving. He's been told to stop and not get into his vehicle. He opens the door and he's allowed to get into his vehicle. Now, I could talk about tactics. I could talk about a bunch of other stuff. But just based on that information and what ended up happening with him going into the vehicle and being shot from his actions, right? He got shot because of his actions, because of what he did. Now, we don't know what the officers see, right? We don't have a video of that. And Joe Biden surely doesn't have that. And this is all that anybody's seen so far. And I've been looking to wait to see if there's a body cam video available. I have not found it yet. If anybody has it, send it to me. But I have not seen it. So we don't know what the officer has seen, right? We do not know what the officers saw at the time they pulled the trigger. We can see a suspect at gunpoint ignore the demands and commands of two law enforcement officers with their guns out and go into a vehicle where often things are kept, sometimes weapons, and again, ignore officers as at gunpoint they tell him to stop and he still makes the choice to reach into his vehicle and he gets shot. All right. Does that at any other time that would be like, what an idiot. Like, what a dumbass. And then you have somebody like Joe Biden, who's a nominee who and nobody knows why. I don't even think the Democrats know why. I'm really like shocked that I have friends that are Democrats that are seemingly have some intelligence and they seem to be still considering voting for Biden. None of it makes any sense. I'm living in an alternate world. But this is what I wake up to this morning. He says, this morning the nation wakes up yet again with grief and outrage that yet another Black American is a victim of excessive force. This morning, the nation wakes up to yet again grief and outrage. Who's grief? I'm not griefed. I'm not outraged that yet another Black American is a victim of excessive force. I didn't look at him as a Black American. I looked at him as a suspect who completely ignored law enforcement officers' commands to stop. Well, I don't care if he's innocent. I don't care if he's guilty. I know he was at gunpoint and the cops are saying, stop moving. Do not get in your vehicle. He ignored them and got into his vehicle. All right, so he had that. Oh, they should. What are you outraged about? And you call him a victim of excessive force? A victim of excessive force? Are you an idiot? You do not know what the officers saw. You do not see anything that happened previous to the video. Did he say something like, I'm going to kill you guys. You guys are at, whatever, or threaten them? I mean, there's a lot of things, right? That we don't know. That is the point. There are a lot of things we don't know. I've seen the same video, Joe, that you've seen, and Kamala, who is a history of law enforcement, and she supported this. She said that he should not be in the hospital right now. Yes, he should. He should actually be in the hospital, whether it's from gunshot wounds or something else. Right? He could have been bit by a police dog. He'd still belong in the hospital for not following demands. Yes. Well, the statement was from this morning. Well, and thank you, Christy. I'm so glad you're watching. Thank you. And there's so much we don't know. And you're wondering why our country is on fire because of Democrats. That's the perfect word. Democrats saying stupid shit. None of that is appropriate at this time. None of this is appropriate at this time. Saying that we're all grieved and outraged. We're grieved and outraged because an idiot did not follow commands, lawful commands from police officers. That's what you should be grieved and outraged about. That they put those cops in a position to have to defend themselves or be in fear for their lives and to take action. Nobody cares about the law enforcement officers? And you have to use this yet another black American? What are you talking about? You know that is a myth. Joe Biden knows it's a myth. Kamala Harris knows it's a myth that there is no systemic racism in law enforcement. It's been debunked. There's been studies done that show that you're more likely to get shot by cops if you're white than if you're black. And when we're talking about lethal force and gunshots, even with this shooting, which again, we don't know. We don't know what happened when he got into the car. We don't know what he reached for. We don't know what he pulled out. We don't know what happened. There's an awful lot of rounds. I don't know. Could both those cops be bad cops? They could be. But to put out a statement like that is just totally ridiculous as a presidential nominee. And Kamala Harris to not say, hey, Joe, we don't know all the facts. We don't know. To say this now, and you've seen the rioting in the streets in Wisconsin now. The rioting is occurring. They burned up a car dealership. They threw a brick at a cop, hit him in the head, and knocked him out. He's in the hospital now with whatever injury he has from being hit in the head with a brick and being completely knocked out on camera. I don't have that video, unfortunately, and I should have. But and then you have a presidential nominee. I don't care if it was Republican or Democrat. I'd be on the same thing, saying the same thing. You cannot say these things. You cannot say that excessive force. We don't know that it was excessive force. We could have been appropriate force. But again, everything leading up to that point is like, well, nobody cares as to why this guy ignored two police officers that had guns drawn on him, and he ignored their lawful commands of stopping and not continuing to the vehicle and not getting inside. Nobody's outraged about that. And again, I want to focus again on where Joe Biden's position is in this country currently. He's a nominee for the president of the United States. And you cannot have somebody that's at that level and you could say that he's, lost his mind, that he's got dementia, and maybe that's why he said it. You could, but you can't unleash it. You can't. Somebody should have stopped him. Kamala should have stopped him. AOC should have stopped him. Bernie should have stopped him and said, hey, you may not want to. We don't know. This is going to be bad if you're wrong. If we look at what's happening with the George Floyd situation, that this is something that's happening with the George Floyd situation, right? We have video now. If you haven't seen it yet, I could maybe try to find it while I'm talking. I don't know if I can, but I'll try. Is that you have video now, a close-up of George Floyd with a baggie of fentanyl in his mouth. Open as he's talking, you can see it in his mouth. I've seen it 100 times when I stop somebody and they suddenly down a package of methamphetamine or cocaine, heroin, and then as you're talking to them and placing them under arrest and transporting them, they then go into seizure because the balloon or the plastic baggie opened up and now they're dying from overdose from swallowing something. And that is what we see is quite possibly what happened to George Floyd, right? Everybody was outraged, including me, talking about murder, filing manslaughter and murder charges to the police officer because of what he did. And then, wait a minute, there's a video, and this is enough. And I know, well, it shouldn't matter that he shoved some fentanyl because he shouldn't have been on his neck. Yeah, but when you're talking about murder, you have to be able to show that it was the cop or the other human being in a murder case that actually killed them. In order to have murder, you have to be able to show that the human being killed the other human being. If there's any doubt, if there's any other explanation, then that's reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt with a jury of 12 and one or two people, one person, you have an acquittal. And so here we are now with George Floyd thinking, uh-oh, right? We have, oh no, this may not be good, because if they are acquitted, especially the main officer, if he's acquitted, we're going to have hell to pay. But this is another example, if I can put this back up there again, of counting your chickens before they're hatched. You're so quick to want to say something that's going to hurt your opponent that you're going to have egg on your face when the body cam comes out or some other information comes out that shows this isn't excessive force. And you caused rioting. You caused a bunch of things to happen because of your words and the position you are in the United States of America at this time, which is a nominee for the president of the United States and the vice president of the United States. That you say things without thinking, without knowing. We don't know that it's excessive force. I do see a video of a suspect who's known to be dangerous, that's known to carry dangerous weapons, that has been arrested for violent crimes previously. The cops know him. They've dealt with him before. Ignoring their warnings, ignoring their demands at gunpoint, and he still continues to do what they tell him not to do, and he goes to get in his car, and now he disappears, and now they have to shoot. Are you going to wait until he turns around with a gun and points it at you? I've been in that situation too, where somebody refused to and jumped into their vehicle. I thank God, and this is where you kind of get into tactics and some things that are alternatives. Thank God when I tackled the guy as he was trying to get back into his car, and I was trying to pull him out of the car, and his hand was beginning to go underneath the crap that was in his car because he was a guy living out of his car, that I was able to pop the button on my gun belt, which opened the door to my police car, and my police dog came out and bit the guy. Right? So I had that option. These officers didn't have that option. As this guy goes in and reaches under the seat, what are you supposed to do? I'm asking you, are you going to wait until this guy takes the gun and now is in a better position than you are to fire and gets off 2 rounds on you before you shoot? Are you going to wait for that? Is that what you're asking our law enforcement officers, that you have to first be shot before you can return fire? Is that what you're telling police officers now? Is that what you're saying to the world? Is that what you're saying to the world of suspects? Okay, listen, we have a new rule now. You get 1 or 2 shots at the cops first before they can even shoot at you. So just, make sure you're good. Make sure. Is that the message? Really? Is that what we're trying to tell people? And then you have morons like this idiot right here, the guy pictured on this thing, this idiot, this dimwit. He was a dimwit before he lost dementia, so don't be mad that I'm picking on an old guy that has dementia. He was stupid before he got dementia. But to get up this morning myself and to read this, that he says the world, no, nobody, the nation is not grieved. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people that are not grieved. Even if a video comes out where you don't see a gun, I don't know that people are going to be grieved. I don't know that. The guy was clearly at gunpoint and they were telling him to stop and he didn't stop. How do you keep from being shot by cops? You follow their commands, whether you think it's right or not. Most people, when I pulled them over for a ticket, if you don't know, I was a police officer 21 years, just in case you're watching and don't know this. But and hardly, I don't know that, I'm sure there's maybe once or twice. I'm trying to think. I didn't pull a lot of, I wasn't a big traffic guy. But almost always when he pulls somebody over, I don't know why you pulled me over. Why? I didn't run a red light, right? I wasn't speeding, right? I can't tell you how many suspects I stopped or bit with my police dog or wrestled to the ground and punched in the face that said, I'm not the guy you're looking for. They all say that. I mean, I'm sure there's 1%. I'm sure, you caught me. I'm the one who did it. I'm the one who murdered, that family down the street, about 2 hours ago. I'm the one. No, I don't know what, right? Why are you stopping me? I'm not stopped. I'm going to go to my car and stick my hand on the seat and get myself shot. What an idiot. If that's you, you're as dumb as Biden. You have the same mental health problem that Biden has because you're a moron. And this is, if I was a cop or not a cop, I think that I would say the same thing because I know people that are cops that say like, well, why didn't he stop? Like what? Oh, because they're cops and they're racist and he doesn't have to stop me. Oh, how do you want to get shot? You idiot. You moron. You dumb F fudge. Oy vey. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Chris. So, I'm going to relax because I was going to cuss and say some strong words. But I love these people, and I see, and I'm going to try not to go on because I want to keep this kind of short. But I see these people get on the news, right? That says that the nation, like just like Biden here, like he says, the nation, like he's speaking for me. He's not speaking for me. Half the people on the news aren't speaking for me when they say everybody's so worried about COVID-19. They can't vote. They're not going to go vote because they're so scared. I'm voting I'm voting in person. I am going down the street. I don't know if the old people down the street will have it, but wherever they're going to have the poll, I'm going without a mask or with a mask. I don't care. And I'm voting. I'm not mailing it in. I'm not taking a chance that something may happen. Like what kind of, again, it's the same thing. Like, what are you, an idiot? If this vote is important to you, if November is important, you're going to go and you're going to vote. You're going to wear a mask. You're going to glove up. You're going to stay 6 feet from the person in front of you. You're going to ask, hey, did you wash down this polling thing? And again, we're talking about November. We're talking about a couple months from now. But anyway, at that point, do that. I mean, you're the same person that I just saw at, what's the name of that store I just went to? Bristol Farms, right? The Bristol Farms was full. I went to Costco the other day. It was full. I went to, where else did I go? I went to this restaurant right over here, this burger joint. It was full of people. With no masks. They wore masks. That's the thing that cracks me up. They wear a mask from the front door to the table. And then you take the mask off. You go, okay. Really? People are, I'm telling you, I must live in a weird world because I go to church with 3,000 people on Sunday. There's 3 services at this church. About 12,000 people go to this church. Nobody wears masks. We have thousands of people on the outside, people walking around. We have children in the classrooms, 30 to something children in each one of the age groups in the classrooms. No masks. The same teacher. Nobody's died. The same teachers are there. Just for those of you that are in the teachers union who are also morons, not teachers, the teacher union. They're all fine. We've been going to church since May. Right? And so I don't know when you're saying the nation is scared. I don't know who you're talking about because the nation I live in right here, and I travel to Phoenix and I talk on these things. I get private messages from people and they're like going, we don't even know what they're talking about. We know that old people get it, that have pre-existing conditions. And are there a few other people? Yes. But in California, 0 children have died of COVID-19. And you're more worried about stupid that Obama took out thousands of mailboxes, not Trump, by the way, because I know that's the thing. Well, Trump didn't do anything. Obama took out all the mail. Why? Because people are emailing each other now. When was the last time you sent a letter? Everybody's going crazy about this post office thing. When was the last time I don't know. I have a friend that sends me a letter every so often because he's in the that business, the network marketing business. I forget the name of it, but and I love it. I do love getting a letter in the mail, but I have not sent. I could not. I'd have to think how to fill out an envelope. I know that sounds pretty dumb, but when I have to write a check, I haven't written a check and I don't know how long. Like, who are these people that they're talking about that they're so scared? I'm so scared that I can't go vote. I'm so scared that my kids can't go to school. I do know 2 people that are so afraid they won't send their kids to school. I know 2. And I swear I've had up to 20,000 people watch my live videos that have not said that they're scared. I go to church with thousands of people that put their children in the classroom. I went to a school board fundraiser yesterday. Everybody was there enjoying the presence of each other and talking and there were, I don't know how many people, 25, 30 people were there. I don't know what world that they're talking about. And then I get back to this thing where you're saying a nation wakes up and is nobody's grieved by an idiot who doesn't follow the commands of law enforcement that has a gun pointed at them. This is just we're crazy. We are crazy. All right. So I just want to point out that we don't know what happened in this video. I'm going to play the video one more time because I think it's important, just in case there's some people that joined up that watch this. I'm going to get to some of these a lot of good comments that are coming up. Let me go ahead and put it back up here. Oops, put it back on the stream. There we go. I'm going to play it one more time, just for those of you that kind of and maybe have not seen it. Again, this warning: you're going to see somebody get shot here, but you don't really get to see him get shot, so you don't see any blood or anything like that. There he is, white tank top. Look at. I'm going to pause it. Oops, right there. This officer has his gun pointed at him. You see him reaching in his waistband right there? There's a good chance he could have been shot then. All right. The thing is he's probably, because he's not facing the officers, but I'm telling you, they were thinking about pulling that trigger. You have a cop behind up here with a gun, right? Now you wonder why. Why are they not going hands on? So there's something about that. I'm wondering, why are they not going hands on right now? Why didn't they put their gun away and tackle the guy and keep him from getting in the car? I can't explain. But again, these officers know this guy. They know he's dangerous. They know that he carries weapons. They know that he's been arrested several times for domestic violence and sex crimes. And there could be a reason. I can think of a reason why there's, if I thought somebody might be armed and dangerous, that I may not go hands on. It is possible. Maybe they feel they're too far away and now they're put in a position where it would be too hard to put their guns away and then pull them back out if they needed them. I don't know. But you can see right there that they clearly knows that the officers do not want him to get into the vehicle. And you hear yelling and screaming, right? And right there, see him bend down? Do you see him bending down? He's not standing in the corner of the door. He's bending down, right? He's not like he's going to go sit down. That's not what he's doing right now. He's bending down into the vehicle, not bending down to sit in the vehicle. Right? I'm going to take it back just a smidge here. Just a smidge. So there he's standing. The officer's trying to grab him, yet he's still ignoring him. Right? And then watch him bend down. Now he bend down. The gunshots don't match up. I've watched the video several times. The gunshots you're actually hearing are ahead of what we're seeing on the video. There, that's when they're shooting. Right? And so wow. Now he's leaning in front, and he's leaning onto the horn. All right, so there's nothing yet that's causing me to grieve, right? And I don't look at him as a black suspect. This whole thing, right away, they go to the block, and I understand that he's a black, and those are white cops. I understand that he's in a black community. I understand all that. But this has not, his actions are what are speaking to me. His history of violence is what's speaking to me. I was a cop for 21 years. I dealt with blacks and Mexicans and Asians and white people, Indians, a guy named Chief at the park. He was always trying to get in fights. If you wanted to get in a fight, because sometimes cops are weird and sometimes they like to get in fights, right? You would ask one of the female officers to arrest him for being in drunk in public, because if a female officer was trying to arrest him, you would get into a fight because he couldn't stand being arrested by a female officer. But if you did that, you knew that he would fight, right? And so that's stupid. I know. But, I didn't like to fight. So I would just say, listen, Chief, I need to take you to jail. And he'd say, okay. And he would be okay. But I knew other officers who would say, hey, let's get KT or somebody over and he's going to go crazy. But that was the thing back in the day. All right. So that's not what's happening here, right? I don't want to cause any grief as to what's going on here. This is not what's happening. These officers had their guns out. They were saying stop, and he continued to ignore them. He got into the vehicle and he bent over into the vehicle, which at that time the officer says, this guy I know is violent. I know he has weapons. He's been known to carry weapons. I'm not taking any chances. And again, you cannot ask a police officer to take 1 or 2 rounds before he fires his gun. You can't. And this is why I go back now to my past shows that I've talked about in great detail, and that I, as a police officer, am telling my brothers and sisters in law enforcement is that I would not go to work if I were you. I know that's a horrible. I know I've had cops friends go, you got to stop telling them that. But the problem is you're going to get either arrested or fired if you lay hands on anybody or protect yourself. I know, but you're taking a chance. If you have a family, if you have children, and you're a police officer, do you really want to you're taking a chance of dying as it is, right? Because Biden doesn't care. He wants you to get shot before you return fire. That's what he's saying. Kamala Harris and him are saying, oh my God, You should have been waited until you were fired at before you fired at him, right? They're pissed because this guy got killed. He's not killed. He's still alive. But got shot because he didn't follow commands based on what he's saying, right? That he's a victim. He's not a victim. He's a suspect in a crime. They were trying to arrest him and they had their guns pointed at him and he ignored them. And in the process got shot because he ignored them. That is not a victim. He is not a victim. He is a suspect that got shot because he failed to follow commands. That's who he is. And it doesn't matter that he's a black man. A white guy would have got shot too. I would have shot him if he was white. I would have shot him if he was any color. Because you can't ask me as a law enforcement officer to get shot first before I return fire. You can't ask that of us. And again, that go back to my last argument here is that I'm afraid for my brothers and sisters in law enforcement that you're being put in a position that you can't do your job. You can't. What good is a law enforcement officer if you have to stop arresting people and putting hands on people? What good are you? You're driving a car around just for what? To get shot at as a target? Because that's all that you are right now. You're a target of Molotov cocktails. You're a target of lasers in your eyes. You're a target of urine-filled balloons and feces-filled balloons. You're getting bolts and ball bearings shot at you from slingshots. You are a target. And if you fight back, you'll be arrested. If you fight back, you will be fired. If you fight back, you will be known as the suspect. You will be sitting on the defense table and not on the prosecution side of the table. The suspects are now victims. The suspects are now the plaintiffs. And I'm fear for all of you. This is one of those times where Biden, it makes my point, where he's saying that the suspect who failed to follow commands at gunpoint, who is known to be violent, who's known to carry weapons, was shot when he failed to follow commands, and that makes him a victim and makes you officers, both you officers who shot him, suspects, and you will be, or you're already suspended. You know you're going to get fired, and now you know you're going to be prosecuted. Watch. And it's a sad day. This is a sad day that you have a presidential nominee who obviously has mental issues. And again, we knew that he did before he even has the current mental issues that he has. Makes a statement that he knows is going to go all over the United States and the world that calls that suspect a victim and calls those police officers suspects in his death. And this is a sad time in our world. And it just is, it is sad. And I can only say that the people that I know that are Democrats that I just don't know. I don't know what's wrong with y'all and you're thinking and it just makes no sense that you support a guy like that. And again, I'm sad. I'm sad that I have friends that hate law enforcement. I didn't know you didn't like law enforcement. I didn't know. You seem to be intelligent people. I don't know what's going on with you. You hate law and order. You hate law enforcement. You hate America. You want to end our U.S. history. You've seen the statement that now Obama believes that Bernie and Biden are simply the same guy with the same ideas. And you want to say that he's a moderate? What? Really? I told you, right? I've not been wrong in a very, very long time. I'm just trying to tell you that I was telling you that Biden is far left and he's not a moderate. He's far. I know what he says. I know what he tries to say. But Obama just confirmed with everybody that. And you hear other people talk about it, right? You hear other people say, "Well, we're just going to make him do what we want once he gets in there," and. It's just crazy. If you want to watch the GOP convention on your local media, is not covering it. Watch it on C-SPAN. Oh, really? I've paused it. So I'm going to have to go to C-SPAN. Thank you, Carol, for putting that up. All right, my friends. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm dumbfounded with our world right now and the war against law enforcement. I am worried. I'm pretty sure what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen in November. I think we're going to be fine. As far as the vote is concerned, But we have half of our country who's gone, they've lost their fucking minds. Sorry. So sorry. I did put the warning. The warning is right down there. Foul language. I just let you know. The world, there's half of our country they've lost their mind. I don't know that it's that much. I think some of them are actually going to go, okay, we can't, this is crazy. We can't continue to be lunatics. My friends are going to think I'm stupid. There's going to be a few of those that are going to finally realize that they're on the wrong side of the country. They're on the wrong side of law. They're on the wrong side of common sense. They're on the wrong side of intelligence. That they're going to go, okay, this no longer makes any sense. 80 days of rioting in Portland. All right, we've had enough. The fact that now we know for sure that the DNC spied on Trump and paid foreign operatives. They paid foreign operatives to interfere in an election. The Democrats did that, not the Republicans. I know what you've been told, but all the proof is out. I mean, there's more coming out, but there's plenty of proof right now that show that everything you thought and everything you were told is the opposite. It is the Democrats who paid foreign operatives. It is the Democrats who spied on the other campaign. It is the Democrats who tried to overturn an election, not what you're being told. So if all that stuff is enough, then hopefully seeing stupid statements by Joe Biden like this one, it causes more fire, adds more wood, adds more gasoline to the problems we're having in our Democratic run cities that are all destroying themselves in Democratic run cities, by the way. I don't know what to do with y'all that I see are still like touting this. Oh, I'm a Democrat. I go, really? You're proud of that? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You are a moron. All right. You are. I'm going to I've said it a couple times. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm going to look at the camera and say, you, Mr. and Mrs. who are voting them are a moron. You are, because you cannot ignore what's happening in these cities. You can't say that 0 children dying of COVID-19 in almost every state. Maybe, there's how many children have died? Not that many. There's been very few, right? In the whole world, there's been very few. The state of California, 0, right? I know a dad and a mom who lost a 14-year-old who committed suicide during the pandemic. I know 2 others. I know 3 altogether. So I know 3, just in my world, I know 3 parents who lost children during COVID-19 pandemic, closed down, shut everything down, no school, who have committed suicide. And you're not opening the schools. When you know the science says, and I know you like to say the science says children are more likely to die of child abuse, suicide, drug overdose with the school shut down than if they go to school. Because we know for sure that 0 have died from COVID-19 in California. And yet you still want to close down. Gavin Newsom, another idiot, another moron. One report said they used a taser and it didn't work. It also said the guy told the officers he was getting a gun from his car. All right. I thank you. I've not heard that, but if that's confirmed, and that again, you start adding all this up and they go, oh, I just spoke on a case to somebody earlier today, right? I investigate use of force cases. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to sign off and it was like 40. That was like 39 minutes. And this is one of the things I meant to talk about and I completely forgot. But I talked to attorneys, defense attorneys mostly, in regard to their suspects fighting it out with cops or thinking they didn't do anything wrong and yet they're accused of stuff. And I go through these cases. And no determination can be made until you go through all the evidence. You can't say I don't say your client's guilty. I tell them, I said, I don't care if your suspect's guilty. I don't care if he goes to jail or not. As a matter of fact, I hope he goes to jail. And these are my clients. I said, but if I see something, I'm going to tell you. But I can't say anything until I know all the evidence and see all the videos and read all the reports and hear the testimony on the stand. I was like, oh, your guy's guilty. Like, how stupid is that? There's views. There's other things we can't see. There's things that were said, like, I'm going to go to my car and get a gun, right? All these things are important to know before you are a nominee for the president of the United States and a nominee for the vice president of the United States, and you get on and you make a statement that the suspect who failed to follow the demands of law enforcement officers who had a gun on him, and now you're calling him a victim, and you're saying he's an African-American, black, victim to white law enforcement officers, you are a moron. You are an idiot if you are supporting that man and that woman and you claim to be and you are a Democrat. You are an idiot. I have nothing else to say. Science. Yeah, and that's science too, right? It's like the science, and I know you're talking about the COVID-19, and they go, follow the science. But the science is that like there's a lot of other factors you have to look at before you make a determination, right? Even these stupid studies that they talk about, if you really look into them, they talk about the study from, I want to say it was Harvard. It had to do with Harvard, and it was talking about how children have now suddenly the children are super spreaders. And we have this new study, and now we know for sure we can't send the kids to school. And then when you actually look at the study used people from the age of 0 to 22. Wait, 22? I thought you were talking about children in elementary schools. The article said, right? The article was talking about children in elementary school being super spreaders based on this study. But the study was from 0 to 22. How many 22-year-olds go to second grade? I don't know. Maybe there are a couple. I doubt it. But you're using adults. It's a different demographic in regard to a study where you're trying to find out whether or not children in elementary school can go back to school. All right. And remember, it's supposed to be about spreading the virus. And so then you not only see that it's 0 to 22, age 0 to 22. It says in the study, it did not address the spreading of the virus. That was not considered. That was not looked into, whether or not they gave it to somebody else. That was not a factor. Yet the article and the thing and the teachers that I've heard talking about it are using that as their reason for not opening the school. But the study didn't test and didn't look at whether it was spread by any of these people. That was number 2. Number 3, how many children do you think they used in this study? 3. 3 elementary school age children. 3. Is that a study when you're looking at 3? And you didn't look at whether those 3, if they had it or not, whether they spread it or not, that wasn't looked at. And yet they're using that as a reason to keep our schools closed. At least this was the argument with some of the things that I was paying attention to. So it's this kind of stupidity. Right? It's the stupidity that the Biden looks at a video and says, a black victim of white officers and destroy and riot and burn and cops are bad and Trump horrible because of this shooting. No, you had a suspect who's known to be armed, who is a sexual predator, domestic violence suspect in many cases, again, known to carry weapons, failing to follow demands and commands of lawful police officers, and continues to go into his car, bends down into the car, and gets himself shot. Whose fault is that? He's not a victim. He's a suspect who got shot because he didn't follow the commands of law enforcement officers. I don't care whether he's black. I don't care what color he is. He's an idiot. He's lucky he's not dead. All right. I got to get off. I promised I was going to keep this short. I'm not going to go an hour. Carol texted me. I know what that means. I'm a text. Oh, I see. Bless your heart. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've been told bless your heart once or twice. False positive COVID. Oh, well, I think I have talked about that before. It's all the stupidity. When I talked to Dr. Lisa and what other doctors? I've talked to 3 different doctors on my shows, and they all think that there's some definite issues with hospitals getting more money for positive COVID tests, positive COVID patients, than if they say that they're not. And so there's some of that stuff. Of course, they all want numbers to be higher. There's such a large number of things that we could address. I'm going to try to stay focused on this particular aspect. You're right, but that is it's all part of the stupidity that's going on in our world. Our good, rational people like you. Thanks. Thanks. I tried to be good and rational when I was out there. And I don't know. The people are crazy. You need to open your eyes. You need to open your hearts and your brains and your minds and make some common sense decisions and not listen to stupidity like Joe Biden. and Kamala Harris, who is another moron. She hates herself. Nobody likes her, and I don't think she likes herself. And she looks in the mirror, she goes, I wish you were a nicer person. And she's not. All right, my friends. Sorry, that's a weird note to end on. And this is what Americans look like. I like playing. Right? That's what America looks like. Not the one in Minneapolis where they give you a piece of paper that says, okay, when you go outside, you can't carry any money. If somebody wants your cell phone, give it to them. Don't fight. And go with more than just one. Don't ever walk by yourself. Like, what? That's not America, right? That's a Democratic-run city. Democratic-run city, you have to go with armed guards. You cannot walk alone. You need to give up any money or iPhones or phones that you have with you because the criminals are running the cities in Democratic-run communities. The suspects are far more important than the voting citizens, and they're really in Democratic-run communities. That they're going to show you how to be a victim, a proper victim, right? They want you to make sure and give everything you have to the suspects, whatever it is. Don't fight, but make sure you go with other people. That way you have witnesses to your death. That's what Democrats want you to do. All right, my friends, I love you. Thanks for watching. Just want to play the Americans one more time. All right, my friends, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.